Coming up on CHGO Cubs, presented by Toyota and Bet365. A rare series loss at Wrigley Field this season for the Cubs, but did it let a little opening for a critical error on this team? Could we fix that, please? And the Mets are on tap next. CHGO Cubs coming up now. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign up. The Cubs lose 3-1 to the Giants today. They lose the series 2 out of 3 to the Giants. That's rare at Wrigley Field today. And sort of a meh last 2 games for the Cubs in this series. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo. Kevin Wells has joined us today. And Sarah is running the 1s and 2s. Hello to everybody in the live YouTube chat. Appreciate you subscribing to the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button and tell somebody about it. We're going to talk about the offense. We're going to talk about still more about yesterday in the bullpen. We'll talk about what Ben Brown did. Yes, Gary Ross. We may even mention a little Cade Horton. But I sort of agree with Ryan S. in the live YouTube chat right out of the gate. I'm curious what you guys think. It was sort of a lethargic effort today, it sort of seemed like. I can't pinpoint one effort. I can just say that was kind of a meh game.
Well, my first question back to you is, why kind of agree? Just go full send, Luke.
Let me say it was a lethargic effort.
Yeah, just say it.
Well, an actual, spot-on, absolutely lethargic effort is usually riddled with errors and misplay in the field. It wasn't that. It just was there. Some of the at-bats weren't great. And it just felt like they weren't grinding today, which is something this team has done over and over, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't pinpoint exactly, like I said, I can't pinpoint one at-bat or one play. It just didn't feel like they were ever really going to make the rally in this game. And I mean, offensively, they had, 4 hits? 3 if you count.
3 legitimate hits.
3 legitimate hits, and PCA pops one up, and that's the only way you score a run all day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I could have been just yesterday, too. I mean, that's a type of game that takes the wind out of your sails.
But they have done a great job of bouncing back from stuff like that all year, and I would point to this effort and say maybe not this time.
I was impressed with the Giants' bullpen all series. Yeah. I think that aside from that 9th inning yesterday, they were outstanding. I was telling Cody this. I think the Giants are the kings of the league when it comes to having guys who come in who just have the most ridiculous windups you've ever seen. I mean, they throw from all sorts of arm slots, make you guess, keep you on your toes. Tyler Rogers has been one of my favorite relievers for a long time. He seems to always have the Cubs number. Imagine going up and trying to face a guy like that when he's throwing just looks like he's throwing complete sidearm. I mean, it's not something you see every day. Mm. Yeah, it was just this was a boring baseball game, man. It was a snooze. This was the type of game as if I wasn't working, I probably would have taken a 2-inning nap halfway through. I mean, it was slow, but you're going to have some of those throughout the year. And the Giants, they're 10 games over 500 now. They play in a good division. They're a competitive team. I don't want to say their lineup is great. I don't think it's great, but I think it's a lineup that, I mean, how many 2-strike hits did they have today? They made every pitcher work. And if that's the type of team that they're going to have, they're going to be right in it at the end here.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I guess I can go with the negative first just because they lost. The Cubs offense top 5 in the lineup, only 1 hit, and that was Carson Kelly in the 9th inning.
1 for 18.
And that's just not going to get it done whether you have good pitching or not. And I felt like, Ben Brown wasn't perfect today. Robbie Ray was better than him, but I do feel like he took a step in his development today. I'm looking forward to going back to all these old tweets of people replying to me about Ben Brown down the road, like all the people who had negative things to say about PCA not taking that contract extension, because no one holds a grudge like I hold a grudge. But yeah, as far as the negative, mostly to me it's on the offense not being able to get anything done today. I thought the Cubs' best inning they had offensively was actually just a 2-out rally that did not go all the way. In the third, 2 outs, you got Ian Happ and Kyle Tucker walks, and then Seiya Suzuki strikes out. And honestly, he struck out twice because the umpire missed a call on a fastball at the bottom of the zone, and he was gifted, like the baseball gods gifted him that in a way, or just we need robot umpires. But then he takes the exact same pitch again, and the umpire calls it a strike the second time. So Seiya Suzuki is a great baseball player in my opinion, or a great hitter. I think he's one of the best hitters in the league, but at the same time, there are times where it feels like you see him taking too many strike three calls on pitches like right there in the zone. And to me, as a hitter, that's probably his biggest flaw. I know he gets screwed by the umpires a lot. He absolutely does. Today, he was gifted by the umpire, and he didn't take advantage of it. So that was just the third inning, though. But the fact that they couldn't get any offense going anywhere else, any time in this game outside of that inning, it's just like you said, Kevin, it was a snooze fest. So yeah. I'm already on to Friday. I'm ready to see what this team can do coming off a series loss, going on the road to play a Mets team that's really good. And I'm not wavering. I'm ready to move on from this one.
Bullpen can use the off day. What you're talking about with Seiya, I feel like goes all the way back to his debut with the Cubs, right? Mm-hmm. Where we realized almost instantly with him at the plate, this guy knows the strike zone. Like in his head and with his eyes, he knows the strike zone. For me, the problem is the umpires don't know it as well as he knows it, and he hasn't adjusted to that sometimes, right? Like he's trusting his zone so much sometimes that you're like, yeah, but that's close, and these guys are all over the place some days and some nights, and so you have to protect the plate a little bit better. You know, you're talking about the strike three right down the middle.
It was at the bottom of the zone. Like it was a borderline call, but I just feel like sometimes he'll take even strike three on a pitch right down the middle.
But he's usually right. About the ones around the fringe, he's usually right about it.
Yeah.
But at some point, you can't defend it because that's just the way it is. Like, okay, he knows it better than the umpires know it. But
you can sit here and talk about ABS challenge system all day, right? But until that's implemented, it's like Seiya's got to learn, I think. And I don't know if it's possible because we've seen him. He's been in the league for 3 years now, and he like you said, he trusts his zone. He goes by his zone, and that can be a pro and it can be a con. I think he takes his walks. He's not over aggressive or too aggressive, I should say. And I don't, when he does strike out, sometimes it can be incredibly frustrating. But we were giving this guy all the credit last week when he had the huge series against Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I would say since that series in Pittsburgh, he's kind of cooled off a little bit. He had a near 1,000 OPS after that game. After today, he's at 832. So still pretty solid, but that's a sign that, for his OPS to drop that far in just a week, he's struggling. He didn't have a good series in Milwaukee and really didn't do much in this series either. So, he's just they need him to get going again.
Our guy Evil Wax agrees with you in the chat. He says Suzuki's been in a really weird funk the last week. Lots of Ks. Very little hitting in the clutch situations. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. And listen, that moment, that third inning, there were 2 outs in the inning. It's not like it wasn't great situational hitting or anything. It's just the fact that you're the 3-hitter. You're considered one of the best hitters on the team. And I think you're one of the best hitters in the league. And you're down and you need a big hit. And Robbie Ray, you feel like you might have him on the ropes because he's coming into this game with one of the highest walk rates among qualified pitchers. He walks Ian Happ and Kyle Tucker, and you can't get anything. You strike out looking and so it's in many ways very deflating. So to me, that's not why they lost the game. It's just when it comes to the offense in this game in particular, that's the inning where I felt like the Cubs had their best shot.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they barely could get anyone on base.
When the wind is impacting the game as much as it is, and it's that cold out, I mean, it wasn't cold, but with the wind blowing in, there's a chill in the air. It's harder to hit the ball. Mm-hmm. And when you have opportunities and you squander opportunities like that, it feels like a 12 gauge right to the gut. I mean, you're done. I mean, that's what it feels like when you have guys in scoring position and you can't get it in. And the thing with Suzuki, and I feel this with Michael Busch too, both great hitters statistically and have shown the ability to hit the ball really hard, especially when the weather's warmer. And really there's been no major complaints with either one of them through their 10 years here. I know Busch has only been here 2 years, but the most frustrating thing for a manager and for fans too is when you have guys in scoring position and you're already struggling to score runs and you take strike three looking. Mm-hmm. I mean, as good of a player as Seiya is, I got to be honest, man, I'm really tired of watching that. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. Enough. If you go down swinging, you go down swinging. Every player in baseball strikes out. But looking at strike three like that, you just can't do that. And Michael Busch does it a lot too. I know a lot of times, both of those guys, we're talking about guys who see a lot of pitches and are really good hitters. I just need them to I need them to execute a little bit more with two strikes.
And I'm not trying to dog on Seiya Suzuki or you mentioned Michael Busch. I'm not dogging on really anyone. This offense has been one of the biggest reasons why they are in first place. And 22-16 after this loss today. The offense, we've given them a lot of credit, and they deserve a lot of that credit. But today, if you want to call it lethargic, you want to call the entire offense today just maybe the turnaround after last night's game.
It's just slow.
Lackluster.
Lackluster. What you want to call it, whatever you want to call it in terms of all these adjectives you guys are throwing up. Yeah, right?
It definitely qualifies.
Whatever you want to call it, all I can say is that my biggest takeaway is that if you're not going to hit the long ball, you still got to find a way to manufacture some runs. They lucked into one today because the left fielder lost the ball in the sun or the wind or whatever.
The other direction.
And it's just like, Nico with a couple 2-out doubles, you can't get the big hit, right? Yeah. And I mean, the ninth inning, you're down 2. Carson Kelly leadoff single. Justin Turner hits into the double play.
Yeah, it seems like Justin Turner. I've seen a couple comments in the chat about Justin Turner, and same thing as Ryan Presley, right? I don't think we should be ready to just sound the alarm and immediately be like, "Oh my God, what's happening here?" But yeah, the Justin Turner experience to this point has not been great. He's not playing good defense at first. You can't really trust him at third right now, and he's just not hitting the ball that hard. He's putting the ball on the ground a lot. And when you have him and John Birdie in the lineup the same day, it's, oftentimes, that's going to be harder to win games. You need the top half of your lineup to carry you in those games. But the thing, I saw one in there that this is the Trey Mancini situation all over again.
Hosmer and Mancini.
And no, it's not. It's not that, because everybody loves Justin Turner in that clubhouse, and he adds more. Nobody liked Eric Hosmer in that clubhouse. So, everybody enjoys the Justin Turner experience and what he brings. And I think that we just have to be a little bit more patient. But you're right. The ball is finding him in key situations, especially there in that ninth inning. Maybe you get a little something going, get your first base runner in a couple innings, and just dead, It's been a tough start.
We have a Toyota Super Chat from our guy, Joe DiGiacomo, for $9.99. Big picture, Jed's continued prospect hugging and love affair with 40-year-old cooked players will be the end of his career in Chicago, Presley and Turner. I was going to save this for the end of the show, but since you mentioned it, Kevin, and we got the Super Chat, which one of those two veteran moves in the offseason, right now, which one of those two players frustrates the chat more or you guys more? The way Turner has started off, I'm not obviously offensively, or the way that Presley hasn't been able to miss bats.
I'll just be honest with you. There are players who frustrate me more than those two, because I already knew the expectation for these two coming in the year. I said before the season that Presley wasn't going to be the closer by the end of the year, and Turner, you can call him Eric Hosmer, Eric Mancini all you want, or Trey Mancini. I don't know why I said Eric. Is that a former coach of the Jets? You can call them all you want, but those guys were starters. Like they played like every day. Justin Turner's playing like once or twice a week as far as starting, and they don't tie the game last night without him. He got an RBI single against Milwaukee last Saturday, so he has started to hit a little bit more. Him hitting that double play in the ninth inning was annoying, absolutely. All I'm saying about Justin Turner is that as long as he doesn't get put in a situation where you absolutely have to play him every day, I'm willing to ride this out at least through the end of May. You could DFA him and call up Ballesteros or Casey or whatever, but you're still going to have to run through the young player, never face major league pitching, and that could be even more frustrating, to be honest with you. And also, do you want to put that player in a situation where they don't play every day? I don't know. That for a team that's trying to win this year, I don't know. Now, if you want to blame the front office for not calling up Casey earlier at certain points over the course of the last 4 years, I say Casey specifically just because that one makes more sense than Ballesteros, who's 21, right? I'm using those names because of those are the ones that Chad is always talking about. But I think that's worth talking about, like, considering where the team was at the end of last year. But the point I'm getting at here is that Justin Turner is a pinch hitter. He is might start once or twice a week. And I do think that the veteran presence does matter on this particular team. It's not measurable. It's not something I can just pull a Baseball Reference or Fangraphs and say, but I do think that there is something there. And I don't know. It was a bad ninth inning for him, but I do think that he's looked better in recent games based off big moments that he has showed up in.
We'll talk more about Presley in a little bit. Plus, I want to talk about Ben Brown and his role moving forward. But first, a word from our sponsors, Cody.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up, use code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Last night's game against the Giants, if you had bet the Giants, you wouldn't have even, you would have won your bet without having to sweat out the bottom of the 11th inning. Yeah. So again, all you got to do is when you log on to Bet365, use code CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, get $150 in bonus bets. You can use them on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Dabble in on that PCA NL MVP market if you want, while you still can, while there's still great value. Use your bonus bets for that, perhaps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Lost every single Cubs bet today. Thanks, guys.
But there's always Friday.
There is always Friday. CJ Abrams showed up, though, for me. 13-11 betting on CJ Abrams in 2025.
Credit to him. Hey, if you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, it can just be a lot. That's why we have to tell you about the Rate app. It's seriously a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. The Rate app also will help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI, so it's smart and it saves you time and money. And here's the unexpected bonus. They've added over 800 free wellness videos, stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically just tools to help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed about a loan or your mortgage, seriously, just let the Rate app handle it. Once that's covered, you can go hit up one of those free wellness videos to chill out. It's one app that helps you with both your wallet and your well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started.
Can I answer the question real quick?
Yeah, for sure. Which one frustrates you more?
It was
Turner start or Presley start? Or Presley missing bats? Not missing bats, I should say.
Neither have frustrated. I'm not frustrated with Jed for signing either guy. They tried to get Tanner Scott. He chose to go to the Dodgers.
They waited too long because they wanted to give the extra year, but it was too late when he offered it.
Okay, so maybe that's a little bit then on them, but he did get similar money with LA. And Bregman thing, they didn't.
That's on ownership.
That's on ownership. That's not going to be on Jed. I would say the thing that frustrates me the most is, I mean, I knew Ryan Pressly going into the year, so I would say, Justin Turner's start is more frustrating to me because I expected him not to come in and hit the ball over the wall a bunch, but I did expect him to come in and be a little bit more solid off the bench.
Be an above league average hitter.
Yes.
And
or just slightly average.
Overall,
how about an average hitter?
Yeah.
Overall, he's batting 176, I think.
Far too many strikeouts. It looks like he's late on a lot of fastballs. I mean, not, and sometimes ones that aren't even thrown that hard. He just seems a little bit off. But again, he's got the track record to where this is not a DFA situation yet. We're not. I know there's been a ton of that. We're not there yet. I'm not there with Pressly yet either. I went back and I looked at a show that we talked about 2 weeks ago about Pressly and how you asked me why he wasn't in my circle of trust. Yesterday was why he's not in my circle of trust yet. He just doesn't throw that hard. He's not. I knew that coming in. I knew who Ryan Pressly was. Yeah. I'm waiting for the bigger moments in the postseason for Ryan Pressly to show me why they traded for him, because that's the type of veteran leadership, calmness on the mound. That's when he'll shine. Not right now. I mean, every closer, every reliever is going to have some instances right now.
I'm curious who would have been, had the Cubs had a 1-run lead, how would Counsell have played it out today? Would he have put Pressly back in there to try and get an out?
Well,
I don't know. I don't think so. He threw
either.
like 30 pitches.
And I'm not defending the player because he has missed bats. I'm not saying that. Like, you can't argue it. He's not missing bats. But I wouldn't be stunned if we see this day off come and then maybe some fresh guys come up and he's on the injured list because, I mean, he had his knee drained and I know he's been okay, but that doesn't mean the knee's not going to fill back up. And I don't know if he's 100%. I don't know if he's just not the same pitcher anymore, which is also possible. I just know of my question. For me, the answer is Turner might be more frustrating because I'd hoped for more. All of us had the same expectations for both. Pressly is more concerning to me because it's a bigger role than what Turner's is, at least for now.
To answer your question for the sake of answering the question, because I basically said that there are other players who frustrate me more, which is true. If you force me to answer this particular question, I'm personally more frustrated by Turner because you're going to see Turner more than you're going to see Pressly. Before last night, Pressly went 10 appearances without giving up a run. And whether the underlying peripherals look bad or not, the results are the results. He was solid, and he hadn't blown a save. He still hasn't blown a save. He wasn't in a save situation last night. Right? Does that mean I think he's the closer? No. Does that mean that I think that he doesn't have any problems? No. But at least he has been productive for you up until last night, right? Justin Turner, outside of the hit in the 9th inning yesterday, the RBI single he had on Saturday in Milwaukee, he hasn't been productive really at all. He's had some hits here or there. He's worked some walks. And that, as far as production, that's it. But the only thing that is keeping me from saying full send on a DFA goes back to what I said earlier. He's not an everyday player.
And he's really well liked in that clubhouse too.
Yeah. I think there's
you should hear, if you listen to any of the interviews that the young guys have done with him or what the pitching coaches and everybody has said about him and just their side interviews, whether it's on Cubs pre and post game on the radio or on Marquee, on Ian Happ's podcast, they rave about this guy. They love him. So he's not going anywhere. It's just, I need him to start being more productive at the plate. If it's not going to be, if it's not going to be exponentially better, but then I need you to catch the ball every time it comes to you at first base too. And I need you to, because right now you can't put him at third. The mobility is not there. Cubs don't really have anybody to play third at the moment. I like Nicky Lopez there, to be honest with you, the most, and by quite a bit. So if your one job is to play first base, you remember a couple games ago, dropping that ball led to a couple runs and a loss. I mean, there's just a few things that just need to be tightened up. That's all.
Turner didn't have any defensive miscues today, and I feel like in recent games he has been fine. I agree with you about him playing not playing third base, but I think overall defensively, we've seen worse guys over there. So
yeah,
I just know on Monday we'll come in here and we're going to talk about whatever, and I'm sure we'll end up finding a way to have this exact same conversation.
I see Craig Brindle saying then make him a coach. They gave him what, $7 million? $6 million. It's big leagues, man. I mean,
all I'm saying is if you want to DFA Justin Turner now, you give me a legitimate name that you would be okay with playing that role that is in the minors. Are you okay with calling up a guy from the minors who's young and taking that role and being a guy who doesn't play every day? You know what I mean?
Not on May 7th. I'm not.
Right. And don't tell me Anthony Rizzo, because the Red Sox lost Tristan Casas for the season basically just a few days ago, and they haven't called Anthony Rizzo yet. So you could tell me Anthony Rizzo, but it doesn't make any sense when you have a left-handed first baseman already. And also you'd probably need to send he's not going to have a spring training. Going and signing Anthony Rizzo for some form of a bring him back type thing to play that bench role. It's not as simple as so many people think it is. It just isn't. He has had no spring training, and you want a guy to just come in and play the role that Justin Turner is playing right now? I just don't think that it would be that simple. And also, does Anthony Rizzo want to play a bench role? He didn't want to take the league minimum. That's why he's not signed. Minimum. You know what I mean? If the Cubs DFA'd Justin Turner tomorrow and they signed Anthony Rizzo, I'd be as rah about it and as delusional about how he's going to revive his career as much as anyone. I promise you, I would sit here and do that. But realistically, do you think he even wants to be in that role? I do not think so. I don't. That is the only thing that really brings me back on it. So all I can say again about Turner is that you just gotta. I think you gotta ride a little bit longer because there's no better options.
I'll be shocked beyond shocked if Justin Turner is DFA'd. I'll be floored and laying on the floor if he's DFA'd and they bring Rizzo in to take that role. I'll just leave it at that. Like, I think both are kind of crazy right now. But when I said at the top of the show that this series may have spotlighted a possible hole on this team, maybe not even possible, a hole on this team, and something that last night's game showed us one thing. They still need more guys at the back end of the bullpen that can avoid bats, that can get strikeouts when you need strikeouts. And if you want to say Ryan Pressly, yes, Ryan Pressly has had a problem with that. But I still think he can be an effective guy. It all depends on how you want to look at it. Do you want to look at the series glass half full? Do you want to look glass half empty because they lost 2 out of 3? Now, I can tell you the bullpen was a problem last night, but in reality, only
1 inning.
Pressly was a problem all series.
Yeah.
The bullpen went 13 innings with no runs outside of Pressly in this series. 13 innings. Ryan Pressly, no outs, 9 runs, 8 earned, 5 hits. Part of that is he was left in there, hung out to dry, because at that point the game was over and they're like, well, we got to try and save guys. But if you want to look at the positives of the bullpen, and I'm not saying these are the hit or miss guys, I'm just saying you have to have arms to get through this, especially with Shota down. And Steele down. You're going to have lots of bullpen arms, and they're going to have to come from Iowa, and they're going to have to come in waves. And yes, I'd prefer some of them start missing bats, but Flexen went back-to-back, no runs. Keller went back-to-back the last 2 days, no runs. Pomeranz went back-to-back the last 2 days, no runs. The first 2 games of the series, Thielbar went back-to-back games, no runs. You can look at this series and say the bullpen was actually great. Pressly missing bats is the hole right now. Am I staggeringly worried about it? No, but I think he started to push that issue closer and closer to Hodge might be the guy. Pressly might get an injured list stint. I could see that happening, especially when Brazier or Miller or some other guys start to come back, right? Like,
that's the guy.
I think those are some possibilities. So I think there's going to be ways to try and address it. And if health is a problem for Presley, then go get that fixed. Because we don't need the draining the knee every other day right now in the season. I'd rather see him go get perfectly healthy. And when Kevin said, when it comes time for postseason, if we're there, and I think they can still do that very easily, that's when I want him to be at his best.
Before we get to the break, I just want to mention you talked about Ryan Brazier. That's the guy who historically misses bats, gets a ton of chase, throws really hard. Throws his fastball and slider combo is super effective. I know he was banged up last year. That's the guy. The Dodgers let him go because they signed a bunch of better relievers. Ryan Brazier can pitch. That's the guy I have my eyes on. I think he's going to be back pretty soon. He's the guy that I'm looking at the back end of that bullpen as that extra depth to miss bats. Mark my words.
There's other guys, though, too, right? It's not just that. There's Merriweather that can miss bats. And one more guy. Palencia has missed some bats, but
look good. Yeah.
We'll see. More on that in a second, but first, tell us in the chat, who do you actually trust in the bullpen? Who's in your triangle or circle of trust? Cody, tell us about a word from our sponsors.
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. It has everything you need to elevate your summer, and they're a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. They have an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They got locations in Wrigleyville, River North, here in the city. They have locations out in the suburbs, and then you can go as far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit, and more if you're not in the Chicagoland area. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands they know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. And if you're a pro, like I just said, they've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu and new ones added daily. They know you'll love Cresco and Florical's incredible quality and consistent products. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
The CHGO family here is getting ready for a big event. We're ready to host the second annual Cookout Classic Golf Tournament at the Village Links at Glen Ellen on June 6th. So right about a month away. You can sign up as an individual, twosome, or a foursome at allchgo.com/events. Entry fee includes 18 holes with a cart, 4-person scramble, limited edition CHGO tee gifts for every player, hole contests, great giveaways and prizes for contest holes and winning scramble teams, lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. Basically, you're also there for the vibes too. Get out, and June is like our best month of the year. It's right up there where we usually get our best weather. Great time to go do it. We had a lot of fun last year. For more information or to purchase tickets, go to http:// I like to say all those. allchgo.com/events. Keep in mind, if you're a diehard, 20% off that action. You know, diehard with the diehard card right now. Good time to sign up and do all of that. And also to check out our merch, because right now we have the Ball Knower bonus. It's back. The Ball Knower bonus is back. Buy, pick, and win. Who's going to win the Crosstown Series next weekend, May 16th to 18th? Here's how it works. Okay? If you spend $25 or more in our merch store buying shirts or the glasses or whatever hoodies, all the fun stuff we have. Maybe it's a Friday 120 Club shirt, which is always very popular. Yep. Spend $25 or more in there, and then you will be prompted to give your answer. Cubs or Sox win the series. Just for those dates in May. If you're right, whatever amount you just spent in the merch store, you will be given a gift card in the equal amount. So, for instance, if you went and spent $200 on merch and you're giving shirts to everybody, maybe you're going to the Cookout Classic, you're all going to want to wear the same shirt. If you spent $150 and you pick the Cubs and the Cubs win the series, now you're getting a gift card sent to you for $150.
Look at that.
So it's a pretty good deal. If you only want to spend $26 or $25 on merch, maybe you're just buying one glass, you still would get a gift card for that $25 or $26 if you pick correctly. It seems pretty easy. They're playing the White Sox.
Yeah. Best
We're
offense in
stacking
baseball.
the odds in your favor on this.
Best offense in baseball, team with 10 wins. At home.
Boy, baseball's a funny sport, but I sure hope they win that series.
Here, I'm going to knock on the table here.
A lot of, yeah.
We got a good foursome right here, us four, at the Cookout Classic. Come on, you guys golf? I shot a 36 on the front nine at Edgebrook yesterday.
Wow, good for you.
It was one of my best rounds of the year. I've been out there like 8 times. I am fully addicted to golf, by the way.
I'll be doing what I do best at those events, and that is selling merch.
She's the merch queen, yeah.
I will make sure everyone's happy.
I've golfed in every one of our events. I don't golf well, but that doesn't matter. I have a good time.
Nobody does.
Last time I golfed with my buddies. Other times I golfed with a group that just came around. I like to have a lot of fun. I tell you what, I'm going to almost guarantee. I think I'm going to guarantee that I will have a birdie and a par this time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like I golf once or twice a year, sometimes less than that. But, I'm around 100, a little under 100. I'm 90 to 100.
I'll come play if I can be in your foursome because I don't know who else want to play.
Oh, wow.
Us 2? Cody? 3?
I don't play, man.
All right. Well, 2, and
I
we'll
like to drive the
ones.
cart around and drink. That's really it. So.
I love golf.
Careful with drinking and the carts.
Yeah. Responsibly, of course.
Responsibly.
Ball
nor bonus. Yeah, looking forward to the Cookout Classic, and then we will have our other annual golf outing later in the year as well. So there's 2 of them. But I feel like they get better each time we go out. We get better groups, and some guys like to show up with boom boxes and golf on, and then others are just traditional golfers.
You see some real.
If you golf with me, I'm not going to be afraid to kick the ball out of the rough. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Whatever, man.
And for everybody that wants to complain about it, don't worry, because I'm not threatening your score anyway.
We'll give you a club length. It's fine. If you're near a rough, you get a club length. Just put it out there.
Yeah,
fine.
Or I kick it, or I throw it right back onto the fairway. Whatever I prefer, because I don't care what anybody thinks.
Jason in the chat says, Cody, you wanted a AAA player instead of Turner. Jonathan Long literally can't be any worse. I don't remember when I said that I wanted a AAA player instead of Turner, but Jonathan Long, you want to call up Jonathan Long, and if the Cubs are comfortable with letting him play every day, or not every day, but play once or twice a week, like get starts once or twice a week, if they believe that he can be better than Justin Turner, considering the fact that he's never faced major league pitching, then go ahead. Like, I don't have a strong opinion on this, but the point of the tangent that I went on is that none of these guys in the minors have proven anything here. And we've talked about Matt Shaw and all his struggles. We talked about PCA and all his struggles when he first came up. Now, if Jonathan Long comes up here and lights the world on fire like a Kyle Schwarber did back in 2015 or whatever, then cool. I'll give him a lot of credit, but they just can't bank on that. The only pro of calling up Jonathan Long, I guess, is the fact that he plays some third base, and maybe he can give you more offensive production at third base on certain days that maybe when Shaw comes back, you don't want to play him. That's my whole point, is that you're saying that it could not be any worse. How do you know? How do you know that? At least there is a track record with Justin Turner. You don't know what you'll get out of any of these young guys. And if it was me personally, I'd rather Jonathan Long be called up so you could play him every day. Same thing with Ballesteros. Same thing with Owen Casey. Same thing with Kevin Alcantara. So that's my whole point about the whole thing with Turner.
And it's hard for me to respond to stuff like that because we know Matt Shaw is coming back up soon.
Right.
They said that. Mm-hmm. Craig Counsell and whoever the minor league hitting coach is at AAA said he's ready to come back up. He's not speaking out of character there. He wasn't jumping the line and saying, I think, no. He was given permission to say something like that. We know Matt Shaw is going to come up and play third base, so I'm not even going to talk about Jonathan Long right now. I'm sorry. It's like Matt Shaw will be up here before Jonathan Long will be back up here,
right? And
Justin Turner's not getting DFA'd.
I agree with what you're saying.
Although Craig says I might be better than Turner, and I can guarantee you that is not true.
That's not true, Craig.
I should say Justin Turner's not getting DFA'd yet. I'm not going to rule it out in July.
Sure.
But now, no, it's May 7th, and they're playing great baseball.
Right. I don't necessarily even disagree with the people who are saying they should DFA Justin Turner, but you give me a better situation. You give me a player that you feel comfortable playing and that's going to come up for situational hitting, who's not going to play every day, who's going to maybe get 1 or 2 starts. You tell me what young player is going to go into that role and be better than what Justin Turner is. good luck, man.
Yeah.
It's not easy for young players, and we've seen that time and time again.
And the trade market's not open yet. You got to wait. You got to wait. Third base is already a weak position in baseball as it is, and the Stars aren't going anywhere because they play on good teams. So you're going to have to wait for that position to be filled. It's not going to happen this month.
I have nothing else to say about Justin Turner.
Yeah, it's an exhausting conversation.
And I really don't have too much more to say about the bullpen. Becky says we have the worst bullpen. Becky, I just said they went 13 innings without a run in this series, minus the one guy, Presley, who had got no outs, and obviously was a disaster in extra innings. But the bullpen actually was really good in this series. Really good. Now, to me, still the biggest, while I'm not saying that they don't need somebody in the bullpen, they will need to make an addition, and they need somebody to step up in the bullpen. And yes, they probably will need another hitter on this team. The starting pitching thing is what concerns me, because you've lost Steele for the season, and we don't know how long Shota is out for. At least 2 weeks. They've said it's likely longer. And now we're counting on Tyone to be our ace and Boyd to be our number 2, and guys have been good. Ben Brown is a guy that needs to step up. And I don't know what to make out of his start today. He was okay. But if I'm being perfectly honest about Ben Brown, and I think Craig Counsell already said this, they're going to need more out of him, especially because of these injuries. They're going to need more out of Ben Brown this year. They need him to flip that switch and hopefully show he can be that guy. I said last night, man, it's on a platter. Go get it, grab it, take it, show us you're that guy. I don't know that he did that today, and I still don't know what to make of these splits. I can't explain it.
You mean these home and away splits?
The home and away splits. Yeah. In 2 starts, these are just his last six games, his last 6 starts. 2 starts on the road, 12 innings, no runs.
Yeah.
4 starts at home, 16 2/3 innings, 15 earned runs. What?
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't even know how to go about explaining that. He gets too amped up pitching at Wrigley. You keep telling me it's the easiest place to play because the ball never flies out of the ballpark.
Well,
it's all about fastball command.
You're telling me that Ben Brown was bad today?
No, I just said he was okay. I said he was okay, but I need him to be more. I need him to go back to the 6 innings, no earned runs against the Brewers. I need him to go back and be 6 innings, no earned runs against the Dodgers.
Well, you can't expect a guy to go no earned 6 innings every time out.
No, but he barely made it to 5 today. And it's just, and again, we started to march out the bullpen guys, which wasn't a total disaster because you have the day off tomorrow. And that's why I don't think they have to panic about calling up Horton or anything necessarily for this next start, because they've got another day off where they can play with some things and figure it out. But
I hear what you're saying.
We keep saying we need Horton to come up and be the guy and be awesome. Yeah, and in addition to that, you need Ben Brown to be a solid number 3 on this team.
I agree that you need more innings out of him, but I do think today he took a step forward in his development, because after the 4th inning, I was asking you, I think that, or I was asking you, do you think that he's going to come out for the 5th? And I think that let me try and say this again. I think Craig Counsell threw him back out there for the 5th because of the long game yesterday of using all those bullpen arms yesterday and going extra innings. And Ben Brown came out and was awesome in his last inning to at least go 5. I agree. You got to find a way to get him to go 6 innings more often than not. But he still went 5 innings, 3 earned, 9 Ks, 2 walks. The 2 walks are the reason he gave up runs, but he didn't give up 1,000 runs. He gave up 3 runs, and the offense got 3 hits, 4 hits, whatever. So to me, when I'm saying that he took a step forward in his development today, is the fact that despite having a bad 4th inning when he gave up 2 runs, he still went back out there, faced the heart of the Giants lineup, and got 3 outs on 10 pitches. And I feel like we haven't seen a lot of that. He went 6 innings, no earned against the Brewers last Friday because the Cubs scored 8 runs in 2 innings.
I like Ben Brown. I really do. Like I said last night, if I had 2 players I had to pick before the season for breakouts on the Cubs, and that goes all the way back down to the minors, I would have said PCA, and I would say Ben Brown. Yeah. Ben Brown has had some good starts. Ben Brown has had some okay starts. And because of the situation that they're in, this isn't his fault. I just want him to see. I'm hoping that he can take that next step now.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of the inconsistent roller coaster a little bit, I want to see more of a steady climb, and that might be wishing and hoping, and that might be the Cubs' fault.
Yeah.
But I also think you mentioned, today we were hoping that he'd at least get to 5.
I think we were hoping more so for 6.
We were,
and that's what I agree with you.
And I do think also part of it was potentially Craig Counsell saying, "Show me what you got. Show me you've got that dog in you to get that extra inning, because we need it right now."
Exactly.
And if you're going to be that guy, that's what the attitude I need you to have.
Absolutely.
Which is something that Justin Steele has shown us over and over. When he doesn't have his best stuff, he can push through and get those extra innings. That's something else you need out of Ben Brown. I just
think that you're asking for Ben, or you're hoping, or you want to see Ben Brown like take the opportunity and just be the guy.
The challenge is there.
But I we'll just use Justin Steele as an example, because he's 2-pitch pitcher, right? Everyone's worried about Ben Brown because he's only 2-pitch, has a changeup, but he's thrown it less than 5% on the season, right?
He threw 3 changeups today.
If you go back to beginning of Justin Steele's career, right? When he got called up with the Cubs in 2022, he started out of the bullpen. They eventually put him in the rotation after they sold everyone off in 2021. I mean, after they sold everyone at the deadline, they put him in the rotation to finish the season. Was pretty meh until like maybe his 1 or 2 last starts of 2021. I know this is 4 years ago, but just listen to me here, okay? So he enters 2022 in the rotation. He doesn't necessarily take off until like June, after he has that conversation with John Lester, okay? So I don't know how many starts from the beginning that the Cubs put Justin Steele in the rotation to that conversation with John Lester to where he took off and was awesome up until this injury. But all I'm saying, the point of this is that even Justin Steele, an all-star pitcher, a guy that who was in the top 2 of your rotation, went through this roller coaster, and he was a 2-pitch pitcher just like Ben Brown. Last year we got a little bit of highs and lows, 7 innings, no hits against the Brewers. This year, you just explained more highs and lows and consistency. I just think that he's on his way there even after today, because he was able to go that extra inning and save the bullpen for 1 inning. And probably his biggest problem from this game in particular was the fact that leadoff walk killed him twice, 30 pitches in the first inning. So
he had 9 strikeouts. Yeah. Cody, I'm not questioning that he's a good prospect or a good pitcher.
I know you're not
at all.
I'm just saying it's not going to be great yet. I think as the season goes along,
I think they're hoping for. I saw somebody in the chat just said I'd put Flexen in the 5. Yeah, but that's the problem. Ben Brown might be your solution at the back end of that bullpen. Like I talk about, the guy that's going to have the swing and miss. You just saw 9 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
He can do it.
Yeah.
And he may have that attitude to be the right guy for that job too. But that ship has sailed for right now, with Steele out for the season and Shota down for potentially a month or so.
Right.
So he's a starter. Yeah, you got to figure out the 4 and 5 and all that stuff, but Ben Brown is a starter for right now. That's why I'm saying it's a big ask for him to take that next step. But I think if you challenged him and asked him, he knows he wants to take that opportunity. Okay, well let's get lightning in a bottle and let's see him take the step.
I want you to be able to talk, so I'm not trying.
No, fire away. I'm interested in what you guys have to say.
To close my 2 cents on Big Ben Brown is that I think we just have to continue to be patient, because he's young, and expecting anything more than what we've really seen, you're going to set yourself up for more frustration. And that frustration really doesn't deserve to go to Ben Brown. That should go to the Cubs front office for not signing Max Fried, perhaps.
Oh, I'm still with you on that. I'm not frustrated with Ben Brown. I'm just hopeful for Ben Brown.
I am too.
What do you think, Kevin? I think is it too much to ask for me to say, man, this opportunity is right there on the platter, Ben Brown. This is your moment. Go get it.
Well, see, I think he pitched well today. So that's where we will differ. I think 9 strikeouts and 12 whiffs is a great outing, and against a lineup that's really proven to grind pitchers down. I think that he pitched well today. I think there's been a couple starts at home where the walks have been an issue. We know that it is vital for him to have fastball command. He's a four-seam fastball pitcher. So, yes, him and Steele are two-pitch pitchers, but they throw the ball incredibly differently. So I don't want to compare the two in that respect. But Ben Brown has the ceiling of a number 2 starter. I don't think he's got the ceiling of an ace right now. But I agree with you, Luke, in the terms of where you are in the season. Things have been great. The lineup has carried you. You've won a lot of games offensively. You've scored a lot of runs. But with where you are in the year, and it's still super early, you're going to need to continue to slug your way to wins. But in games like today that are close, you do want Ben Brown to just kind of keep the traffic off the bases a little bit, because the 2-out hits, the 2-strike hits, you're 1 strike away, and you get so much of the zone with a 2-strike pitch, and it ends up being a double that scores 2 runs. That's your ball game. So when I look at it through that lens, that's something that I guarantee you Tom Yahadovi is talking to him about right now. And I think that he will take that platter and run with it. I think Ben Brown is a starter the whole year. I don't think they're going to move him to the bullpen. I think he will be in the rotation. And I think that he gives them a completely different look, and I think that that's great. I am going to disagree, though. I'm not. I do know what to think of his start today. I thought he pitched pretty well today. I'm
not disagreeing that he pitched. Like I said, I thought he pitched.
Yeah. What do you want him to? What's
I want 2 less walks.
Okay.
So that I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about getting to the 5th inning.
I want less 2-strike strikes. I want you to throw purpose pitches with 2 strikes. I don't want you to get the whole zone with a 4-seam fastball and it end up in the corner and 2 runs scored. That's my complaint with Ben Brown today.
Ben Brown's one of my favorite players to watch on this team. I'm not dogging Ben Brown. I'm saying the opportunity is here. I think he's got that extra dog in him that some guys just don't have. I think he's got it. And I see his stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's different than the other pitchers in the rotation. And there's an opportunity with your top 2 guys out for him to take that next step. And one of the best things that could happen to the Cubs this season is for him to take that next step.
So why not throw a little competition in there this week and bring up Cade Horton, a guy who could maybe snuff out that 5th role spot from him? Why not throw another guy in there? Because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if it's coming Saturday. The off day tomorrow feels like we might get a Presley
I think it's another week.
Stint. Next week.
I think it's another start in the rotation. I think it's one more turn through, and then we might see
him against the White Sox.
That's what I think.
Okay, I think so too. I think he's here next week.
I think no matter what, if Cade Horton gets called up or not, Ben Brown is staying in the rotation because they need him to start games
for now. But I mean,
down the road
when Imanaga comes back in mid-June, Imanaga's your ace. Colin Ray has been good. He's been. There's going to be some decisions there. So just adding a little bit on the tail of what Ben Brown can handle and say, hey, listen, we got another guy here. You want to keep being a starter? You want to make big bucks because starters make big bucks? I don't know. Anything can happen with that. And there's so many hypotheticals I just threw in there. But I need Ben Brown to execute better with 2 strikes. I think that is my only, if I'm going to pinpoint mistakes that he made today and mistakes that Ryan Presley made all of yesterday, is getting way too much of the zone with the breaking ball and way too much of the zone with the fat. I mean, just too much. You got to paint. And then we saw in the 5th inning, he started to do it, started to hit the bottom of the zone a little bit more, started to get those whiffs.
Yeah,
he depends on that. It's vital for him.
The 5th inning that I really highlighted about why I think he took a step forward in his development was because he was painting that fastball at the bottom of the zone. And yeah, I thought the 5th inning was his best inning of the day. And, I know what you're saying, but the way that it was explained in a way, it's like you're hoping, I guess, and that's fine to hope, right? I do a lot of delusional hoping.
Hoping, wishing, and challenging.
Right. And challenging.
And I think Counsell sort of challenged him before that previous start, too, when he flat out said he was not good enough right now. We need more from him.
Right. Yeah. I just think that 5th inning, being able to go back out there, he had over 80 pitches going into that inning. And finding a way to get the team 5 innings, knowing that they went into extra innings and had to use a lot of bullpen arms yesterday. To me, that's a sign of good moving forward. I agree with you mainly about the walks because the 2 leadoff walks today are why they scored runs, in my opinion, Kevin, more so than the fact that he threw some 2-strike pitches that were hit.
And it might be unfair for me.
If he doesn't, start
outing
the inning with a leadoff walk, perhaps those situations go different. I'd rather him challenge guys with the stuff that he has than walk dudes. So,
and it might be unfair for me to say that I need better 2-strike accuracy with the baseball because he did have 9 strikeouts today.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2-out hits are what ultimately lost you the game. I know the offense didn't hit, but that's why the runs were scored. So that's...
Yeah. Well, I think to your point about the walks, leadoff walks did 2 things. For one, his pitch count went up because of the leadoff walks.
Yep.
For 2, they raised the intensity and the stress of each inning, which also shortens a guy's outing as well. Yes, what do we have in the live YouTube chat?
Barbara, more people watch this chat than attend Sox games, and Jim Cook, our sales guy. That's not true.
Jim watches both.
What's up, Jim?
I think we all generally agree about Ben Brown. I guess I came in hot, a little defensive, because on social media today, in my mentions, there were people who were talking about how they need to remove him or something. And I don't get that. I don't understand. I truly don't get it.
Yeah, that's a big time overreaction, man. Ben Brown has been objectively solid.
Yeah. For a young pitcher who's trying to develop, yes. He doesn't have the expectation of being a Cy Young pitcher. Anyway,
I look at their rotation right now and I say Tyone and Boyd I have the most confidence in.
Easily.
If a start is going, it's Tyone and Boyd. I would like Ben Brown to join that conversation. He's just a tick below.
Yeah.
He's not that far off. He's not. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I'd like him to join that conversation and be a key piece at that top of the rotation for what it is for now. And then I would like to see him actually try and pass one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because I think he has that type of skill.
And let's just run through who Ben Brown has faced this year before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier schedule coming up after the Mets. Ben Brown has pitched against the Brewers, the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Padres. Dodgers twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to start the year. Those are 3 of the best offenses in baseball, maybe 4. I know the Phillies haven't been that great, but they'll get there. They're a proven commodity. Those other 3 lineups I mentioned, the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and Padres, that's a heck of a way to start the year, and he has fared relatively a couple bad starts in there. The Phillies and the Padres struggles, but the Dodgers starts were good, and the Milwaukee start was phenomenal.
Look at it, Kevin. They're all the bad ones are on the road. That's what I'm saying. The last 6 games are today: Brewers, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Padres. He's got 12 innings, no runs against the Brewers and Dodgers, and then 15 earned runs in 16 2/3. I just can't explain that.
So maybe a couple double-digit strikeout games on the horizon when he gets to face the White Sox and the Marlins. Maybe
feast.
Yeah,
that's where you start to feast and build him into a top of the rotation guy. I don't think he's a top of the rotation guy right now. He has the skill for it.
Not yet.
But I'd like to see him be a top of the rotation guy.
My last thing about Ben Brown, Corey and Brennan bring this guy up a lot in their show. Matt Clapp at the Blog Finds on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted after Ben Brown's start that, and I didn't even realize this, but going into today, Ben Brown, like hitters, BABIP, batting average on balls in play, going into today was 545. And after today, it's down to 398.
Okay.
So you mentioned those starts, and I do think there's objectively some bad ones in there. There's one, I think, against the Padres. He walked way too many guys.
The Phillies was brutal.
The Phillies one was pretty bad, right? But I think that they, might have had some bad luck in there. And I think that's just another sign of like this guy is better than what the numbers say right now. And I think that he will only get better as the season gets going.
Boog and JD kept mentioning, and I think rightfully so, they know baseball very well and have watched Ben Brown more than we have and have just been up close and personal. they kept talking about the third pitch today and how that might help him. And it might, but I will say that's what the offseason's for. It's kind of hard to develop a pitch in season, so I don't know if we can put that expectation on him yet.
I might have been wrong on what I just said about the stat that Matt Clapp said. Maybe the batting average on balls in play against him today was just 545, but for the season's at 398. So, whatever. It sounds like there was a start where there was a lot of blue pits that kind of went against him. I do think today, I don't think a lot of balls in play were, fluky or whatever, but I think there have been some in the past. So. Well, it doesn't take away my point.
The Mets are up next. Anything you guys expect out of that? You're going to get Tyone, you're going to get Boyd, and you're going to get somebody else in that three-game set once with.
I think we'll see Flexen on Saturday. Tommy Hotovy sounded like that.
Sounds most likely.
It's going to be Flexen as an opener because he threw again today and he threw yesterday. So I'll see Flexen maybe throwing 1 or 2 innings on Saturday. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
And you're still optimistic, Cody. I said yesterday, if they can get through the Shota thing at 500, I'm still happy. Honestly, because I think this is going to be this might be their biggest challenge of the season is getting through Shota's injury. I thought it was going to be the tough schedule at the beginning of the season, but now that Steele's hurt and Shota's hurt, May's looking more challenging than I expected it to be, even though there's teams that you should beat.
Yeah.
Just be thankful you're done with.
And you did well.
The 3 of the best 7-8 teams in the league.
I'm looking at the Mets schedule right now. They've lost 2 of their last 3 series. They're currently in a 3-game set with the Diamondbacks. Looks like they're probably going to win that series. So
can they slow down Pete Alonso is the question. That guy is hitting everything out of the park right now. I mean, he is on fire. Can they slow him down?
And him and I'm looking forward to the PCA Revenge Series.
Oh, yeah. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So, listen.
That'll be fun.
People probably, and in general, I do feel the same way, too, because I'm a fan like everyone else. Now we got to ride a loss into an off day. I got to live with this bad feeling for another 24 hours. And then we got the Mets tomorrow at 6:10, so it's almost 48 hours of just like this feeling sucks. But once they start playing, I'm looking to see if this Cubs offense gets going again. I'm looking for more continued success for this bullpen. I'm interested to see what roster moves that they make tomorrow or Friday before the game.
I'm really interested.
And if Cade Horton does pitch and he doesn't pitch well, don't throw him into Lake Michigan right away. He's a young pitcher. All right. And 5, can we win a game where we score 3 runs or less? I would like, as much as I like scoring runs, I really do. That's the one thing about this team so far early in the year where they have struggled. When they score less than 3 runs or less, they don't win. And that was displayed today. That was displayed in previous games too. So that Sunday game against the Brewers, right? So those are the 5 things for me going into this Mets series. But I'm not afraid. They've won games against really good teams, the NL West. I'm not saying some of you people are just so crazy, like saying the season's over after losing a series.
They're still in first place by 3 or 4 games.
It blows my mind in many ways. And everyone wants to point at like what the record was last year. Well, last year's team didn't have Kyle Tucker and it didn't have a Pete Crow Armstrong who's on an MVP path right now. So miss me with that, right? And even if they do lose this series this weekend, you have the Marlins and the White Sox next week. So just slow your roll.
Breathe.
Have your concerns. I have my concerns too. I absolutely do. Third base, gonna need some bullpen arms, and you definitely need to go trade for a starter at some point before this trade deadline. But slow down, dude.
Yeah, miss me with that. What he said.
You like that?
I did. Miss me.
Some people just like, it's almost like I got to talk you down. All right. I get it. It was a frustrating day, but we're in a good spot. The Brewers lost too. All right.
It was a tough 12 hours, but now we move on. And an off day coming at the right time.
Corey and Brendan with
a podcast for you tomorrow. And then we'll get ready for the Mets and hope to see you then. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Thanks to Kevin for jumping in. Thanks to Sarah for running the ones and twos.
Thanks for having me.
We had a good time. Hope you did too. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to that new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. And don't forget, always fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.